Evaluating functions. A function establishes a relationship between input and output where for every input there can only be one output. So let's look at evaluating a linear function. So this is my function, negative 2x plus 6. To evaluate this function at, let's say for instance, x is equal to 1, what I would do is replace every x variable with the number 1. Another popular name for this is called plugging in, like we plug in a value. Always follow the order of operations when you're evaluating numerical expressions. So at x is equal to 1, my output value is 4. 1 is my input, and 4 is my output. So this also corresponds to a point on your coordinate plane. 1 is the input, 4 is the output. So let's take a look at this on our graph. So as you can see, I already have a line. So 1 and 4, that's my input and output. So I find my input 1 and I go up to 4. That's where it touches. There's my output, 1, 4. So let's evaluate this function at 0. I'm going to plug in 0 everywhere there's an x, so I have negative 2 times 0 plus 6. Order operations. Multiply first, you get 0 plus 6. Now we can add 6. So f at 0 is equal to 6, or as a coordinate, 0, 6. And let's see if we can find this on the graph. All right, so let's find my 0 and 6. 0 is my input, go all the way up, 6. There it is, 0, 6. So that's all there is to it, kinda. There's a little bit more because right now the only thing we focused on was finding an output. What if we need to find the input? So anytime you see a problem set up this way and these are your question marks, that means we have to plug in to find the output. So what if my function is equal to the number 2? So we know the output, we don't know the input. So let's take a look at the solution and how to find the input. We start by setting up our function equal to 2. And if you pay attention to what's written right above, you'll see that our function is equal to negative 2x plus 6. Therefore, I will write negative 2x plus 6 for my function and set it equal to 2. Now I must solve for x. So let's subtract 6 on both sides. That gives me a negative 4. And now divide by negative 2. And that gives me a solution of positive 2. we now know our input is 2. Watch how we can take our output on the graph to find the input. So remember, the output is 2. So we know our output. Just follow it along until you touch the line. And once you touch the line, follow it down till you touch the x-axis. And there it is. So 2, that represents my input. So a quick recap. If I need to find the output, all I have to do is plug in. Remember, anywhere there's a variable, I replace it with this value to represent my input. So by following the order of operations, I get 3 minus 4, which is -1. Now I know my function at +1 is equal to -1. And as a coordinate, 1, -1. Plugging in is all you have to do to find an output. All right, so let's clear all of this away and let's take a look at finding an input. So f of x is equal to 11. This one needs an input, and remember, we have to set up an equation to solve it. So there's my 3x minus 4, that's my function. I set my function equal to 11, and then I began solving. So I add 4. Add 4 on both sides, I get 15. Bring down my 3x. Now I can divide by 3. 15 divided by 3 gives me 5. My input is 5. So important note, plug in to find output, solve equations to find input. You can like and subscribe to my channel. Keep practicing.